We witnessed in the court of justice the greatest show of hypocrisy in history and a series of blameless and false claims against Israel. South Africa, which serves as the legal arm of Hamas, has presented a reality in Gaza in a distorted way since the beginning of this war, while completely ignoring the October 7 terror attacks in which Hamas tried to commit genocide against Israelis. This is what the Israeli Foreign Ministry said yesterday about the opening of South Africa's trial against Israel at the High Court of Justice in The Hague. Professor Malcolm Shaw, the second speaker who represents Israel, said, "Not every war is genocide. The real genocide took place on October 7th, an attack by armed forces from Hamas against unarmed civilians in Israel. According to international conventions, Israel has the right to defend itself." Professor Malcolm Shaw reprimanded the prosecutors and mentioned Jewish history. South Africa mentioned the word context a lot. They mentioned 1948 here, but why start there? Maybe we start with the Balfour Declaration in 1917. Maybe we go back to the days of the Bible. Israel's representative in The Hague, Dr. Galit Rajuan, from the Ministry of Justice, presented the court with documents of Hamas's use of civilian infrastructure during the fighting inside the Gaza Strip, and pointed out the failed launch of rockets from El Ahali hospital that was claimed to be an Israeli bomb. Germany announced its intentions to join the proceedings in The Hague as a third party alongside Israel. Germany also announced it strongly rejects the charges of genocide leveled against Israel, which it says has no basis. The discussions will continue in the coming days, and we will continue to follow this ridiculous trial in which South Africa will be the mouthpiece of Hamas. But I am a glass half full kind of guy. I'm optimistic, and I believe that maybe now the world will know the truth that Israel never intended a war. Hamas committed a crime against all humanity on the 7th of October. As part of the IDF's activity in the Gaza Strip, the fighters raided Hamas's weapon stockpiles and confiscated the missiles and rockets, and the fighters also uncovered launchers used by Hamas and destroyed them. This is an effort to damage Hamas's rocket launching capabilities and thwart continued firing of rockets towards Israeli civilians. The forces of the Golani Brigade's combat team located rocket launchers loaded and ready to be used towards Israeli territory inside the cemetery. The rocket launchers were destroyed by the troops. It is important to note that the cemetery was not damaged because the IDF soldiers adhere to a higher moral code and respect all religions. During an aerial intelligence gathering mission by the Squadron 100 of the IDF, the terrorist organization Hamas opened fire from a school and a mosque inside the Gaza Strip. The squadron located missile launchers in the area and destroyed them, preventing continued fire into Israeli territory. In the El Mazi area in the Gaza Strip, the combat teams of Division 36 eliminated about 20 terrorists in the past 24 hours and found many weapons that belong to the Palestinian terrorist organization Hamas. Among the terrorists who were eliminated was a commander in the Nukhba force of the terrorist organization Hamas. In Khan Yunis, an Air Force fighter jet attacked a military structure of the Islamist Palestinian terror organization Hamas and neutralized terrorists on the spot. Amongst them is a commander in the Nukhba force who took part in the murderous attack against Israeli communities surrounding the Gaza Strip on October 7. A force of the Commando Brigade identified 3 armed terrorists in the Gaza City area who came out of a house of a Hamas operative and approached our troops. The fighters of the combat team shot and hit the terrorist. Also, in the Khan Yunis area, IDF fighters located a number of AK-47 weapons, RPG launchers, and destroyed a weapons warehouse. All of this within 24 hours. In El Bourij, the soldiers of the 414th Battalion identified a terrorist who shot at our forces from a window of one of the buildings in the area. The soldiers of the battalion activated a drone towards the window from which the terrorist shot and neutralized him. Now to Israel's northern front in the battle against Hezbollah, a terror organization that is affiliated with Iran. A short time ago, fighter jets of the Israeli Air Force completed an attack in the areas of the villages of Lavuna, Ramya, and Ait al-Shaib. As part of the attack, several terrorist infrastructure used by Hezbollah were eliminated. I call on all of you. This is a call for action. It is time to share the truth, to take part in telling the terrible story of the 7th of October, when Hamas terrorists attacked innocent Israeli civilians, including women, children, and the elderly. The world needs to hear and know what happened, so that such a thing will never happen again. In the same way, the Holocaust must never be forgotten. The people of Israel do not forget the Exodus from Egypt and share the story of it from generation to generation, because the history of the Jewish people is constantly being written. October 7, 2023 will forever remain a trauma. On that day, the forces of evil walked the earth and committed unimaginable crimes. The spirit of the devil himself appeared on this earth. I have no other way to describe it. This is a spiritual war, and we should all unite in prayer, because that's the only way to fight a spiritual war. May God protect us from the terrorist threat of Hamas, which until this very moment continues its line of evil, terror, and deception. Let's all pray together for a world without Hamas, a world without terrorism, a world of peace. That peace will be upon Israel. The peace of the Lord will reign upon Jerusalem, upon the people of the Gaza Strip, upon the people of Iran, the people of Lebanon, and most importantly, in all of our hearts. So let's pray that God will reign in this world, in our hearts. And let's pray for the peace of Jerusalem.